All right. Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to say call Halalyum Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai Bahashim Rakal Quitash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who taught me this truth and who rule well in this truth. Shalom to the 144,000 and the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel that is scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. Peace and mercy unto you, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. You are the true Hebrew Israelites that the Bible speaks of. You are the true chosen people of the book. All right, so I want to go into this book, all right, known as Murder by Injection, all right, written by Eustace Mullins. All right, and I have gone into this book many times, all right, about 4 or 5 times, all right. I have done lessons on this book, all right, and you could go, you could go to on the search bar of my YouTube channel and just type in Murder by Injection, man, and all those videos will come up, man. All right, those are great information gets brought out on those videos, man. All right, this book goes into all the witchcraft, all right, and all the unethical practices of the medical industry, the food industry. All right, it goes into how the cancer industry was started. All right, and that's what we're going to get into today in this lesson, man. All right, because the cancer industry is controlled by the elite banking families, by the Rockefellers, man. All right, they controlled the cancer industry and all that, man. And it wasn't created, all right, to bring out a cure, all right, but to control and manage the cancer, man. Not to cure it, but to control and manage it, man. All right, we're gonna get into that, man. All right, so let's get into it, man. All right, this is Murder by Injection by Eustace Mullins. All right, I think it's page 40 that I want to get into. All right, let's grab it real quick. Yep, as you see right here, the Prophets of Cancer, chapter 3. All right, so let me zoom in. All right, and I'll probably I'll read this page, and I'll read this page as well, and I'll stop somewhere over here. All right, and I'll probably read this entire page as well. All right, but we'll see, man. All right, let's get into it, man. And it's good to know this information, man. All right, it's good to know this information, man, to have this knowledge, man. All right, so you're in the loop, you're in the know, you know what's happening, you know what's going on. All right, because this entire earth, the masses of this earth, these people of this world don't know what's happening, don't know what's going on. The only people that know and truly understand what is happening, what's going on, are the true prophets of the Lord, the true prophets of Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai, man. All right, the true prophets and the true servants, man. We know exactly what's happening, what's going on, man. All right, so let's get into this, man. All right, the scriptures say, be not ignorant in any matter, small or great. Let me grab that real quick. All right, let's get that real quick. All right. Yeah, let's grab that real quick. That's it right there. Boom. All right, Ecclesiasticus, all right, 5 and 15. Be not ignorant of any matter, in a great matter or small. All right, be not ignorant in anything, in a great matter or small. Excuse me. All right, be not ignorant of anything, in a great matter or small. Yeah. All right, and the scriptures also say to study to show thyself approved, man. You know? So you got to know things, man. You got to know what's happening and what's going on. You know? So let's get into it, all right? This is the Prophets of Cancer, all right? Murder by Injection by Eustace Mullins. So let's get into it. Let me zoom in a little bit more. All right, so it says, chapter 3, the Prophets of Cancer. It says, in 400 BC, Hippocrates, all right, assigned the name of cancer or crab to a disease encountered during his time. All right, because of its crab-like spread through the body, all right, it's in its Greek name, carcinos, all right? That's why, the symbol for cancer is the crab, man. All right, its Greek name was carcinos, all right? In 164 AD the physician Galen in Rome used the name of tumor, all right, to describe this disease, all right, from the Greek god Timbos, all right, meaning a sepulcher mound, and the Latin tumor, to swell, all right. The disease could not have been very prevalent, all right. It is not mentioned in the Bible, nor is it included in any ancient medical book of China, the Yellow Emperor's classic uh classic of eternal medicine, all right. Unknown in the most traditional societies, it spread with the rise of the Industrial Revolution. All right. In the 1830s, cancer was responsible for 2% of the deaths around Paris. Cancer caused 4% of deaths in the United States in 1900. All right. With the rise of cancer came modern methods of coping with it, all right, of coping with it, excuse me. It says a leading critic of the medical establishment, Dr. Robert S. Mendelsohn, comments that modern cancer sugary someday will be regarded with the same kind of horror that we now regard the use of leeches in George Washington's time. All right, the sugary of which he spoke is the widely accepted and imposed method of cancer treatment now in vogue throughout the United States. It is called the cut, slash, and burn technique. This method of cancer treatment actually represents the high watermark of the German allopathic school of medicine in the United States. It relies almost exclusively on surgery, bleeding, and heavy use of drugs, with the exotic addition of radium treatment. The temple of the modern method of cancer treatment in the United States is the Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Institute in New York. All right, its high priests are the surgeons and the researchers at this center. Originally known as Memorial Hospital, this cancer establishment was presided over during its early years by two physicians, all right, who were stereotypes of the Hollywood caricatures of the mad doctor. All right. If Hollywood planned to make a movie about this hospital, they would be stymied by the fact that only the late Bela Lugosi would be appropriate to play not one but each of these two doctors. The first of these mad doctors was Dr. J. Marion Sims, son of a South Carolina sheriff and tavern owner. Sims, all right, was a 19th century woman doctor. All right. For years, he dabbled in experimental surgery by performing experiments on slave women in the South. According to his biographer, these operations were little short of murderous. When plantation owners refused to allow him to conduct further experiments on their slaves, he was forced to, next page, purchase a 17-year-old slave girl for $500. Within a few months, he had performed some 30 operations on this unfortunate, a girl named Anarcha. All right, because there was no anesthesia at that time, he had to ask friends to hold Anarcha down, all right, while he performed his surgery. After one or two such experiences, they usually refused to have anything further to do with him. He continued to experiment on Anarcha for 4 years, and in 1853 he decided to move to New York. All right, whether his little Negro hospital in South Carolina was surrounded by screaming villagers one night, all right, as they brandished torches, as in an old Frankenstein movie, is not known. All right, however, his decision to move seems to have come rather suddenly. Dr. Sims bought a house on Madison Avenue where he found a supporter in the heiress, all right, in the heiress of the Phelps Empire, Mrs. Melissa Phelps Dodge. This family has continued to be prominent supporters of the present cancer center. With her financial assistance, Sims founded Women's Hospital, a 30-bed all-charity hospital which opened on May 1st, 1855. All right. Uh, like a latter quack, all right, Doc Simmons Sims advertised himself as a woman specialist, particularly in vesico-vagina fistula, all right, an abnormal passage between the bladder and the vagina. It is now known that this condition has always been iatrogenic, that is, all right, caused by the administration of doctors. In the 1870s, Sims began to specialize in the treatment of cancer. Rumors began to circulate in New York of barbarous operations being performed at Women's Hospital. All right, the Mad Doctor was at it again. All right, the trustees of the institution reported that the lives of all the patients were being threatened by mysterious experiments. All right, Dr. Sims was fired from Women's Hospital. However, because of his powerful financial supporters, he was soon reinstated. He was then contacted by members of the Astor family, which Astor family is one of the elite banking families. All right, I live in a town in New Jersey, all right, that is controlled and ran by the Small Hatters. All right, and in my town there's a part of the town known as the Industrial Park, where there's hundreds of factories. All right, one of the factories is known as Astor Chocolates, where they make chocolate. All right, Astor Chocolates, and the symbol is the Freemason symbol. This the logo for the company is the Freemason symbol, man. All right, and I've done lessons on the Astor family. All right, when you read the book Bloodlines of the Illuminati by Fritz Springmeier, it goes into the Astor family. All right, and I've done lessons on that. All right, you could go to the search bar on my YouTube channel and just type in Astor family, man. All right, and that book will come up. All right, and that lesson will come up. All right, it says he was then contacted by members of the Astor family, whose fortune was founded on old John Jacobs Astor ties with the East India Company. Ooh. All right, the East India Company is the company that funded the slave ships that came over here to America, man. All right, that goes to show you that the Small Hatters, all right, controlled that company, man. All right, the Small Hatters funded the slave ships that came over here to America. All right, the people walking around pretending to be us. All right, it says whose fortune was founded on old John Jacob Astor's ties with the East India Company, the British Secret Intelligence Service, and the international opium trade. One of the Astors had recently died of cancer, and the family wished to establish a cancer hospital in New York. All right, they first approached the trustees of Women's Hospital with an offer of a donation of $150,000 if they would turn it into a cancer hospital. All right. Smarting from his recent firing, Sims double-crossed the trustees by private negotiations with the Astors. All right. He persuaded them to back him in a new hospital, all right, which he called the New York Cancer Hospital. It opened in 1884. Dr. Sims later went to Paris, where he attended the Empress Eugenie. All right, he was later awarded the Order of Leopold. All right, from the King of the Belgians. All right, let's look up the Order of Leopold. All right, which I already looked it up, but I want to get it for edification. All right. All right. So it says Order of Leopold. It says the Order of Leopold is one of the 3 current Belgian national honorary orders of knighthood. All right. It is the oldest and highest order of Belgium. All right, and is named in honor of its founder, King Leopold I. It consists of a military, and maritime, and a civil division. All right, so it comes from Belgium. All right, like we're reading right here. All right, excuse me, went over a page by accident. All right, it says he was later awarded the Order of Leopold from the King of the Belgians. All right, apparently he had lost none of his chutzpah, all right, he returned to New York where he died shortly before the opening of his new hospital. In the it says in the 1890s, after receiving gifts from other benefactors, all right, the hospital was renamed Memorial Hospital. In the mid 20th century, the names of Sloan and Kettering were added. Despite these names, this cancer center has for many years been a major appendage of the Rockefeller medical monopoly. All right. It says during the 1930s, all right, a block of land on the fashionable Upper East Side was donated by the Rockefellers to build its new building. All right. Rockefeller henchmen have dominated the board ever since the building was opened. All right. In 1913, a group of doctors and laymen met in May at the Harvard Club in New York City to establish a national cancer organization. All right. Not unnaturally, it was named the American Society for the Control of Cancer. Note that it was not called the Society for the Cure of Cancer or Prevention of Cancer, nor have these ever been primary goals of this organization, you see? All right. It says 1913, of course, was a very significant year in American history. All right. During that fateful year, President Woodrow Wilson signed the Federal Reserve Act, which was set up to provide funding for the forthcoming World War. Woo. All right. A national progressive income tax taken directly from Marx's Communist Manifesto of 1848. All right, was imposed upon the American people, and legislators had their constitutional duty of appointing senators removed. All right, they being henceforth elected by popular senators, they all now had to compete for the popular vote. It was in this heady era of socialist planning that the Cancer Society originated. All right. It says, naturally enough, it was funded by John D. Rockefeller. All right. All right. Jr. All right. His attorneys. All right. His attorneys, Debbie Voice and Plimpton, remained dominant in the administration of the new society throughout the 1920s. Its funding came from the Laura Spelman Rockefeller Foundation and from J.P. Morgan. Woo! All right. Let's keep reading. All right. It says, from its inception, the American Cancer Society has followed the pattern, all right, set up by the American Cancer Society. All right. ACS also had a board of trustees, a House of Delegates, and in the 1950s, it also established a committee on quackery. This committee later changed its name to the Committee of Unproven Methods of Cancer Management. All right. But the society, it says, note that it was not called, it says, note that it was called management and not cure. You see? Yep. But the society still used the term quackery freely in referring to any methods not sanctioned by its trustees or deviating from the cut, slash, and burn method of cancer treatment. All right. It says in 1909, the railroad magnate E.H. Harriman, all right, died of cancer. All right, but in parentheses it says, whose fortune, like that of the Rockefellers, had been funded entirely with Rothschild money funneled to him by Jacob Schiff and Kuhn Loeb. All right, it says his family then formed the Harriman Research Institute. In 1917, the scion of the family, W. Averell Harriman, abruptly decided to go into politics, or rather to manage our political parties from behind the scenes. All right, the institute was suddenly shut down. Its financial backing was then transformed to Memorial Hospital. All right, the principal backer of the hospital at that time was James Douglas. He was chairman of the Phelps Dodge Corporation, whose heiress in 1853, Melissa Phelps Dodge, had been the initial backer of what eventually became Memorial Hospital. She had married a dry goods merchant named William Dodge, who used the Phelps fortune to become a giant in copper production. All right. The Dictionary of National Biography describes James Douglas as the dean of mining and metallurgical properties. He owned the richest copper mine in the world, the Copper Queen Lode. Born in Canada, he was the son of Dr. James Douglas, a surgeon who became head of the Quebec Lunatic Asylum. All right, his son joined the Phelps Dodge Company in 19. Matter of fact, let me read that again. All right, it says the Dictionary, all right, of National Biography describes James Douglas, all right, as the dean of mining and metallurgical properties. He owned the richest copper mine in the world, the Copper Queen Lode. Born in Canada, he was the son of Dr. James Douglas, all right, a surgeon who, all right, became head of the Quebec Lunatic Asylum. His son joined the Phelps Dodge Company in 1910, later becoming its chairman. Because he had discovered extensive pitchblende deposits on his western mining properties, he became fascinated with radium. All right. In collaboration with the Bureau of Mines, a government agency which he, for all practical purposes, controlled, he founded the National Radium Institute. All right. His personal physician was Dr. James Ewing. All right. Douglas offered to give him Memorial Hospital $100,000. All right, excuse me. Douglas offered to give Memorial Hospital $100,000, but there were several conditions. All right, one was that the hospital must hire Dr. Ewing as its chief pathologist. The second was that the hospital must commit itself to treating nothing but cancer, and that it would routinely use radium in its cancer treatments. Woo. All right, the hospital accepted these conditions. All right, with Douglas's money behind him, Ewing soon became head of the entire hospital. Douglas was so convinced of the benefits of radium therapy that he used it frequently on his daughter, who was then dying of cancer, on his wife, and on himself, exposing his family to radium therapy, all right, for the most trivial ailments. Because of Douglas's prominence, all right, the New York Times gave a great deal of publicity to the new radium treatment of cancer, all right. It says the journalist headlined his story with a page one headline: "Radium cure free for all." All right, radium cure free for all. All right, the claim was made that not 1 cent's worth of radium will be for sale. Douglas was greatly annoyed by this statement, and on October 24th, 1913, he had the Times run a correction. He was quoted as follows: "All this story about humanity and philanthropy is foolish." All right. I want it understood that I shall do what I like with the radium that belongs to me. All right. This was a rare glimpse of the true nature of the philanthropist. His rivals in this field, Rockefeller, all right, and Carnegie, all right, always give their money with no strings attached. With this insurance, they were able to stealthily establish their secret power over the nation. All right, Douglas had revealed the true nature of our philanthropist. All right, and I'll read the rest of this, and that'll be it. And I'll if it be the Lord's will, I'll do a part two. All right. So it says the original press releases, all right, from Memorial Hospital had in fact in, intimated, all right, that the radium treatments would be free. They apparently believed that the great philanthropist James Douglas would donate his supply. The Memorial Hospital rules and regulations were immediately changed to stipulate that an extra charge would be made for radium em, e, em, em, emanations, all right, emanations used in the treatment of patients, all right. It says in 1924, the radium department, excuse me, in 1914, the radium department at Memorial Hospital gave 18,000 radium treatments to patients, for which is charged 70,000. All right, its largest single source of income that year. All right. All right. Meanwhile, James Douglas, who had boasted that he would do what he liked with his radium, continued to give himself frequent treatments. A few weeks after the New York Times story in 1913, he died of aplastic anemia. All right, medical authorities now believe that he was but one of a number of personalities associated with the early development of radium who died from its effects, the most famous being Marie Curie, wife of its discoverer, and her daughter Irene Gilliard Curie. All right, by 1922, more than 100 radiologists had died from X-ray induced cancer. Ooh. All right, so that'll be it. Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. All right, Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai Ratazah. This was edifying, and I continue reading, and that'll be I'll do a part two, whatever if it be the Lord's will. All right. So with that being said, I want to say call Halalyum Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai Bahashim Rakah Quitash. All right. Until the next one. Shalom.